In the feature film category, this film tells the story about how stressful it can be working on the Rhode Island Highway Patrol, especially if you don't have the temperament for law enforcement. It's a Farrelly Brothers movie. Josh, who's the winner on this? Our recipient is me, myself, and Irene.
Thank you. I want to thank Josh and Fred for this award. Thank you both. My brother and I, Bobby would love to be here, of course, but what is it? Because he's a douchebag. This award means the world to us. First of all, because we never get awards, but also because it's certainly one that came out of nowhere. You know, we didn't hire actors with disabilities. We hire them for two reasons, actually. One reason is because they're the best actor available, and the other reason is because they're different. And I think you guys should take advantage of both things. You know, I've hired the actor Danny Murphy in several of our movies, and sometimes I use him in his chair. He's in a wheelchair, and it does it because just as you would hire a blonde person over a brunette person coming into in a movie, if you have too many brunettes, you got to mix it up. And I do it for that reason, where I want to surprise the audience and have a real world out there, not everybody who looks like they stepped off a soap opera. On the other hand, we also go the other way, where sometimes, like we've had Danny we just have a movie that's coming out November 9th called Shallow Hal, and Danny plays a cab driver. No chair, he's in there, nobody would know he's disabled, but he's a great actor, so we use him for that reason.
It seemed like a really fun movie
definitely,
to do.
Definitely. Completely different from, anything that I've done before. But, yeah, it was, Farrellys are such nice guys. Nicer than they'll ever let you know, actually. And they love what they do. They really enjoy it. They have fun during the day. And honestly, if you're going to go into one of these pictures for the first time, it might as well be with that group of guys. A little bit, but a little sophisticated in some ways, too, because they're dancing around and addressing social taboos that make us all so uncomfortable, that we're so careful about. So when someone finally does acknowledge it, and then take it a little bit further into the absurd, it's like we kind of can't help but laugh. It's like the laughter's almost a big exhale of relief. And not to mention, borderline offensive, and who doesn't love that? Yes! And who doesn't love that?
The Farrelly Brothers, directors of There's Something About Mary, re-teamed with Jim Carrey. And Jim Carrey in Me, Myself, and Irene, the new comedy from 20th Century Fox.
It's absolute insanity and depravity. Scene after scene, also together in a kind of a psychotic quilt.
Charlie Bailey Gates is a nice guy. Rhode Island state trooper, puts everybody before himself. Just a nice guy. Too nice.
Sweetie, that's kind of dangerous. You want to move it up onto the sidewalk, away from the traffic?
So Hank shows up to take care of the other stuff that's inside that he's not expressing. And boy, does he express it. Hank and Charlie meet Irene.
Charlie and Hank that are fighting over the same woman. And, Hank is created because Charlie's kind of a pushover, and suddenly this other character comes out.
And it becomes like a classic love triangle where he's both guys, and he's fighting with himself for her affection.
In addition to suffering from
advanced delusionary schizophrenia with involuntary narcissistic rage,
Charlie's childhood sweetheart left him with the task of raising triplets.
She falls in love with the limo driver who picks him up at their wedding. The other man happens to be a vertically challenged African American.
To Jim, it was like coming back to old friends.
Funny guys. They're just real down to earth and real kind of like connected to everybody they've ever known in their lives, and they're enviable in that way.
They keep a really close-knit group of people around them, so it feels like, you're working with this extended family, and then soon you become part of it.
We always have a blast. There's no pretension, there's no anything like that on these movies.
Oh, no!
It's just balls out comedy. Can I say that?
What the hell are you still doing here? You can't get rid of me, Hank.
Leave your taste at the door.
Hank! Hank! You're only hurting yourself!
Me, Myself, and Irene.
Conundrum Entertainment, that's our new company. Our first production. This script, incidentally, you may have noticed, co-written by Pete and I with a friend, Mike Cerrone. He's from our hometown, and he's just the funniest guy that we knew growing up. So at one point, we pulled him aside and said, Mike, you know, we need to write scripts. Maybe you want to sit down and sit in with us and try to write them together. We started this about 10 years ago. And we've been working on it little by little for 10 years, and finally got it where we thought it was good enough to shoot. At the time, by the way, Mike was a car dealer. He owned a car dealership in South Attleboro, Rhode Island. Many friends here in the background. Yeah, these are a lot of the guys we grew up with in Rhode Island. There's, I see Mark Mayaski back there with Tom Leska, Willie Bowe. There's Chris Meyer standing behind and there's Tom Leska's daughter there. Scott Neely, right? And Cam there. But we always, the reason why we use the Rhode Island State Troopers in this movie is because they are such, you know, they're really an outstanding police organization for real, and they have beautiful uniforms, and the way they conduct themselves, and the pride they take in it. It's just something that every Rhode Islander knows is one of the few things that we're really proud of. In fact, they won the best state trooper uniform on the David Letterman show a couple times, I think. Yeah. Yep. They're very well known for their uniforms and their professionalism, and we were really happy that they allowed us to make this movie and work along with us.
The state of Rhode Island welcomed the talented duo back with open arms.
People love the Farrellys. They just love them. They're so easy to work with, and it's always been a great shoot. And people enjoy their film so much, I think it just creates an ambience for them.
The state police have a near legendary status in Rhode Island. Convincing the organization to cooperate in the production of a zany comedy was a delicate matter.
Part of my job was to talk to the state police and set up some meetings with them and the Farrellys and the producers to make sure that the image was what they wanted.
They take themselves very seriously, as they should, and they have a lot of pride, and they didn't want us to make fun of them, so they read the script, and then they approved. We never set out to offend anybody, and this to us was a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde movie, and we didn't expect to get the people who the schizophrenic groups. We're sorry about that. We certainly didn't intend it, and our apologies.
The Farrelly brothers were accustomed to taking criticism in stride, but they bristled when a reporter who had not seen the film questioned its portrayal of the state police.
Not a great look at the state police, even, it's kind of mocking them a little bit.
I disagree entirely. Have you seen the movie? Well, then that's ridiculous. Dumbest thing I've ever heard.
What do you guys have?
Moronic. Okay.
I just wanted to ask you guys, you guys come back home and everyone...
That's idiotic. That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. It's a great look. If you didn't see the movie, they look tremendous.
I think you just touched on a nerve. They're real sweethearts. I mean, you can still call them up and they answer your phone calls, personally, even though they have all these other irons in the fire. So they're really nice guys, and I have yet to see, although they now have more people around them and layers of people, I really haven't seen that success has changed them all that much.
Me, Myself, and Irene did not match the box office returns of their smash hit, Something About Mary, but it added to the growing reputation of the Farrelly brothers.
Now they've elevated themselves to star status. Even though they're not on the screen, people still, they follow the name. Oh yeah, those are the guys who make funny pictures. So they have a reputation with the audience. Not a lot of directors are known in the public consciousness. And the Farrellys, I think, have a tremendous future because people are loyal to their pictures because they know who they are.
That T-shirt, that's one of those things that, we have an exceptional crew, And at some point, I remember either our costume, I think it had to be Pam Withers, right? I think Pam Withers came forward, or Cindy Bartholomew, I don't remember who was our production designer. And someone said, hey, what if you put his picture on the t-shirt? You know, we'd already done the t-shirts earlier, and we hadn't planned to have another t-shirt here, but sort of on the day, someone said, wait a second, what if we throw, yeah. And we're lucky like that. At the beginning of every movie, we always sit down with the crew and make an announcement that if anyone ever feels they have an idea that can make any scene better, or they just have any idea that we might be overlooking, please come forward. And they definitely do. And most of them we don't use, but occasionally we get some real gems. Yeah, and by the way, this scene here, now that was actually Trailer's idea. She approached us. They were supposed to be making out, but, you know, just lips pressed against each other. And she said, well, wait a second, what if we like playing, you know, tennis with our tongues? And I said, really? Would you go for that? I think she said, I think it'd be a lot funnier. So yeah, we approached Tony and said, Tony, would you like to do it? Tony was hip to it. This next scene is something that we went back and forth on at least 10 times. We cut it, we put it back, this right here. Because it doesn't get a big laugh, but ultimately we decided to keep it in because it sort of says something. Yeah, you had to show that the kids were smart rather than just say they were smart. And also at the end of the movie, you know, the airplane comes back and right. Hey. You can see Jim has a wealth of moves he can make with his face. He is so gifted physically. Yeah, there's a second movie, as you know, that we made with Jim Carrey, and it's a blast to work with him because of what he brings that you couldn't even imagine. Like, I think written in the script there, it probably said, you know, he makes some weird faces. But you know, when Jim brings it all to life, he's just one of the great guys in business. This stuff coming up is an example of Jim like does his own stunts. Not supposed to, but he sort of insists on it. You're out there that day. We had always figured that we'll do this stunt, but we're going to bring in a stunt guy to do it. But Jim's like, no, I want to try it. And this is him. This is the real deal, him going over the fence. And he wanted to do it about 6 times, too, after we had it on the first one, but he wants to keep doing it. And ironically, the take we used is the first take. Check this out. Now that was not any trick camera work to see him popping up there at the end. What we did is at the bottom of that hill we had 2 guys holding a big mattress so that you could bounce off it, and he just rolled down the hill and then jumped up in the air and then landed in that mattress. And like Bob said, he did it 5 or 6 times after that, until finally he screwed his ankle up and we had to shut down for a day, I think. Yeah, he many days on the shoot, at the end of the day he was in some sort of bandage. But he's just, that's how he is. He gives his all.
It did hurt, absolutely. I mean, I wasn't directly punching myself in the face, but, you know, I came close a couple of times. Every day I injured myself. I had a sprained ankle for 3/4 of the movie, you know, but I just went into complete denial, you know, because I don't need that on my insurance record. You know, carry the liability. So, you know, it was more about, like, you know, it was so much fun and such a great project that you just power through. There's some turd humor. Can we say that?
Yeah, we can say that.
Okay,
More
let's say it a few times. Yeah, during the breakfast hour. And, you know, but, hey, you know, everything in the movie was created by God. You got a problem with that? Take it up with the creators.
You like doing comedy better, which is your thing, obviously. You like doing drama better.
It's different. You know, the comedy's like a more scientific kind of, you know, you can try to make it look natural, but the fact is that you can't just have 2 actors who are working organically off each other and like, this is how I feel right now, I'll do this, you know, because it won't be funny. It was a wonderful experience and very much a professional atmosphere, you know.
So we snuck in the back last night where you guys were watching the movies, watching a bunch of, you know,
critics and stuff, watching the movie is quite an experience. Because literally, if you watch it with a real audience, like just a normal audience, public audience, they are freaking out. They're like throwing popcorn. They're out of their minds. You guys, I was actually amazed at how good the response was, because I know as a comic, industry audiences are the pits.
Yeah, they're
you know
different.
What I mean?
They really
Terrible,
are different.
because they're examining. They're not just letting themselves go. But because they got to say stuff about it. So, so it's all about them.
It's all about me.
That's right. Exactly.
Actually, good critics, it's not.
Yeah, really?
It's always about
Okay.
the film.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't want to say that everyone is such a
That's
good
true.
critic in that room.
Hey, I have one odd question about this film.
Too easy.
And the question is when is I think the public perception is, oh, we have a blast when they make a film. The reality is that it's really hard work.
Yeah.
And when is comedy really fun to do on film, and when is it a nightmare on film?
To me, it's always fun. To me, it's always fun because it's always interesting to try to scientifically figure out what's going to get that response from people. And how to time it right, how to block it right. It's a fascinating process. It's completely different than drama. Drama is more about an organic chemical response to the other person that you're with. This is about mechanically figuring out what's going to work, and then if you can put some organic stuff in there, it's great. But it's more about timing, marks, things like that, and how to make it funny. But it's more scientific. Let's go back to the screening.
Okay.
Because there was a guy.
Oh, yeah?
And I can't wait to see him today, because there was a guy in front of us. It was hilarious because he didn't know we were there. And every time the movie got kind of sweet, he would go, oh, like that. It was hilarious. And he didn't know we were right behind him. And he was with two of his friends. And he was like, literally like, trying to impress his friends, It was like,
and he probably got him into the movie for free.
It was so funny, man. And then invariably, that sweet moment would pay off with some kind of comedy or something, and then he'd go, oh yeah, hey, like that. But it was like the immediate response was so cynical, it was unbelievable.
Hey, I've always wanted to.
But it was good, actually.
It was
Overall,
good?
It was a good response. I was amazing.
She's starting to see that this Hank is a nice side. This is an important scene because, we've established that Charlie Bailey Gates, the main guy, is a great guy, and everything about him likable. He gets shit on, more than his share of times, but he's got a good heart. And he's a good guy, and just the fact that he, his wife got impregnated by another guy and left him with the 3 kids, which he raised as his own and loved as his own and never blamed them. Restaurant 100 miles southeast of here. That makes him a great guy. But Hank was an unlikable guy, and we needed to do a scene where you would see that maybe he's redeemable, which gives the love triangle. Well, geez, maybe Hank could end up with her. There's another guy that classes up our projects we're lucky to get is Chris Cooper. He's a real actor. I mean, he is really solid, and we're glad he wanted to play along with us for a summer. It's funny, we've been big fans of him for many years. Of course, you probably recognize him from 1,000 movies. Perfect. She really was. She was a perfect balance for Jim in this movie. And she played the reality when at times his characters had to be big. She kept everything grounded. He couldn't have been more real because Jim was falling in love with her, and that's he's supposed to be doing it. Hey, is that the first kick in the groin? I think it is. It's Bobby Weeks again. But we pretty much have a kick in the balls in every one of our movies. When we finish this movie, we look back and we start noticing some trends, which, by the way, we're making an effort to correct. And there have been a few. Yeah, one of them is that every movie we've done, somebody's been kicked in the balls. It seems that we always have an animal die under humorous circumstances. What else? Or almost die. A lot of road trips. A lot of start the movie in one age, and then you cut to about 17 years later. Yeah, and it's not something that it's not like we have a formula, but we've just come to notice that there apparently was a formula that we were unaware of, and so our next movie that we're directing is It's called Shallow Hal, and it's going to be quite different than what we've done. It's a big comedy, but we're kind of trying something different. Yeah.